What's going on, people? Welcome back to the Nick J. Francis channel. Arsenal just beat Leeds 4-1 away from home. So technically Leeds 1, Arsenal 4. Another really good performance. It's really important that while we've got these games in hand, while COVID is screwing over other teams, we have to take our chance to put as much distance between us, Spurs, United, maybe even West Ham at the moment, any of the teams that are in and around us fighting for that top 6 and maybe that 4th spot. It's really important that we put the pressure on them by taking advantage of the space that we're in now and making them have to gain ground and really setting a marker in the sand of what they need to do to get above us in the table. So obviously Leeds, they're a depleted team at the moment. They've been hit with COVID and all the rest of it, as we were at the beginning of the season. You know, I don't take any of these these sort of excuses. I don't necessarily accept them, because we went into the beginning of the season losing 3 games back to back without any of our starting strikers and any of our starting centre backs. So we've been there too. COVID's going to affect everybody, and it's going to affect everybody differently. Who knows what sort of team we'll be left with in the coming weeks. Sambi Lokonga was out with COVID today. So who knows? But all you can do is play what's in front of you. We played the Leeds team today. I predicted a 3-1. I thought we would win. I thought we'd be confident and we'd be aggressive and we'd be intense going into this game. Like I said, it was one better than that. It was 4-1. We did give away a sloppy penalty. Ben White is very good when he stays on his feet. It seems like when he goes to ground, we have major problems. He needs to stay on his feet as much as possible. Similar to Xhaka, similar to everyone in our team, actually. As soon as we go to ground, you start really panicking. We don't really have anybody who's good for slide tackles and those types of challenges. But we kind of cruised to victory. It was 3-0 at half-time. Could have easily been 4-5, 6-0. Really good performance. Gabriel Martinelli once again with a man of the match performance for me. He got a brace in the first half. Tomiyasu could have also been man of the match, but sadly went off injured around the 63rd minute, something like that. Hopefully, we'll keep up to date with what's happening with him injury-wise and what that looks like. Hopefully it's just precautionary. He walked off with a bit of a limp, but nothing too serious, hopefully. But yeah, we're starting to find that consistent rhythm again. We did it before, 10 games unbeaten before we came up against, United and other serious teams. Once we lose that consistency, we really struggle to get it back. But while we're consistent, while we're in the run, while we're in a rhythm, a lot of that comes with a consistent starting 11. It's been really good. And yeah, not too much to complain about. I think, from a Leeds perspective, it's a little bit frustrating to watch games like that. There's a narrative that Arsenal are soft and Arsenal get kicked all the time. But once it became clear that they weren't going to win the game, that's what they resorted to. It was just kicking. It was just pure shithousery. It was just kicking people and fouls and getting in people's faces. Rafinha was getting into Ben White's face. I'm not entirely sure why. Ben White did give away a penalty and Rafinha scored the penalty. And, on balance, would I say they deserved the goal? Maybe not. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about whether Bielsa sticks with his plan when his plan hasn't been going particularly well as of late. Did they stick with it? They did, kind of. They adjusted some stuff. They put a lot more crosses into the box than I've seen them do for a long time. They don't really have a big target man there, but they're just looking for anything where the ball drops down and they can have a strike and stuff. So there were moments when they attacked and moments when we put ourselves under pressure. Still, again, Partey giving some real hospital balls in the middle of the park and losing concentration. We know the talent that he's got, but that needs to be worked on. Maybe AFCON might be good for him, or maybe he just needs the summer break to really work on this type of stuff, which is ridiculous, I know, for a £45 million signing from a Champions League finalist team. But this is where we are. But the key headline is winning these games 4-1, keeping pressure, keeping consistency. We've been good at home. We haven't been the strongest away from home. So going and winning games like this in this type of fashion away from home is great. And again, Lacazette captain the team really well. You can see he's a leader. You can see the respect that the other players have for him. They always, if there's 2 different shouts of what's going to happen on the pitch, and one of those shouts is Lacazette, that's the shout they go with. So you can see the respect is definitely there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward. I still think that midfield area needs a little bit of work. A lot of the problems that we have, we bring on ourselves. But all in all, a really positive performance. Like I say, Lokonga's going to be out I think he's going to have to isolate for 10 days or something like that. I don't know what the protocol is. It changes all the time. But the next game we've got is the EFL Cup against Sunderland. And it's going to be really interesting to see what sort of team gets put out. I'd like to see Balogun play, certainly. Nketiah has been coming off the bench recently, so I imagine he'll play. Where is Nicola Pepe? He's still missing. I don't know if they're just protecting him so they can get him out in the January transfer window. If they're looking to ship him out in the summer, I really don't understand why he wouldn't be playing. And if they're looking to ship him out in January, I mean, it's round the corner and we haven't heard any signs of any bids or anything like that. So I'm really concerned about that. And I know they may want to protect him as an asset so he doesn't get injured, but we've got people there on the bench that aren't playing, and it can really be detrimental to have these guys in the team and on the squad just taking up space. And then when something happens, a couple of injuries happen, you go to call on them and they're not fit because you never use them. So it'll be really, really interesting and really telling. I think the team that gets put out for the Sunderland game will be really, really telling. Aubameyang, again, not involved today. I don't think he'll be involved. I'll be surprised to see him involved again. Ever again, for the type of manager and the type of person that Mikel Arteta is. I'll be really surprised if he comes back in. And then after the Sunderland game, we've got Norwich, which we should win, and then we start getting into Wolves, City, and our first crack at Antonio Conte's Spurs. So that will be really, really tough. We need to get a win against Norwich, because going into those later games, Wolves, City and Spurs, some of those games, certainly City were not the favourites and Spurs is a 50-50 game, and they'll come back with something to prove depending on whether those games go ahead, or we'll see what happens with rescheduling and things like that. So again, continuing the same theme of every game is a must-win game. We can't take this game lightly going into Sunderland, because we need to be on a winning streak to go into Norwich, and we need to be really, really positive and really confident going into those other games like Wolves, City and Spurs, like I say. I think nobody's probably going to expect us to get a win against City. Last we played them, it was embarrassing. It's one of our worst defeats in a very, very long time. City and Liverpool, we're just miles off them in terms of quality, in terms of time we've played together, in terms of a bunch of different things. We're just miles away from them, and it shows every time that we play them. But Spurs, they're trying to sort of rejuvenate themselves with Conte. He's coming, he's looked pretty good. We know that he's a serial winner. Let's see what happens there. But that will be another major scalp. I think the Spurs game going into January after the Christmas period will be one of the biggest games of the season for us, because just like West Ham, it's a 6-point game. Not only are we gaining 3 points, but we're taking 3 points away from a direct rival, and then hopefully we can get into the summer in a top 6 spot, and like I say, maybe even a top 4 spot. But the key takeaway is the same. I keep seeing people getting really excited because we're 4th. These guys do have games in hand. They're not bad teams. They have very, very winnable games in front of them. So we can't look at ourselves as being the prime position for 4th. 4th is still an overachievement. Top 6 is still necessary. I would say if I love Arteta, if he doesn't get top 6, we can consider that a failure. 5th or 6th is success. 4th is extreme success. Above 4th is wild. That has to be the narrative. Because I don't want everyone thinking we're getting 4th, and then the narrative when Spurs and United come back and they win all their games and we go down to 5th or 6th, and the narrative is Arsenal, you guys bottled 4th. 4th was never ours. We were only in 4th while these guys had games in hand. So it's not a bottle situation. It's not a situation that we would definitely had 4th and then we fucked it up at the end. That's nonsense. And we're still in cups as well. It would be really good. Obviously, Arteta came in and got an FA Cup when he first came in, and that bought him some time when things weren't going well. We're still in the EFL Cup. We've got a third round Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup on the 9th of January, providing that's not postponed. So we're still in a couple of cup games. People keep saying, you've only got one game a week and stuff, and that is true for the most part. But we are still in cups as well. So, the cup if we don't want to run our starting 11 for the league into the ground, and we're going to use the likes of Nketiah, Balogun, Pepe and stuff in cup games, they're going to be very, very cold. We need to be getting these guys some minutes, especially in games like this where we're 4-1 up, we're cruising, we're probably not going to lose the game. Get them some minutes, get them on the pitch, get them a little bit of match fitness, because we're going to throw themselves into games against Sunderland and Nottingham Forest and whoever we get if we get past those guys. And then if they don't perform, we're going to be really upset. So if we can get a top 6 position and a trophy, that is a really, really good season. And looking at people that are in the FA Cup, it's all still possible. So it's been a turbulent season. The documentary is going to be fascinating. We'll see what happens with all of this stuff. But a successful season, what I would consider a good season, again, top 6 for me is good. Trophy is a bonus as well. Top 6 and a trophy, maybe even 4th. all of this stuff is still possible. So let's not panic. I know we do stupid things that frustrate us, and some of Arteta's decisions frustrate me as well, even as a fan of him. Sometimes when I'm seeing him bringing Nketiah off the bench and putting wide and stuff like that when we've got wingers, and it's just some of this stuff is mind-boggling. But if we can get top 6, win a trophy, this is going to make us much more appealing going into the summer transfer market, and then we'll be able to see what we can do, where the club is at in terms of attracting talent, in terms of what our motivations are, all the rest of it. Right now, with Lacazette captaining the side and captaining us to back-to-back wins and getting goals and getting assists and link-up play and the kind of character he is behind the scenes and all of this stuff, it's looking like, for me, a 1-year extension for Lacazette if he wants to stay. I imagine he would. He looks like he's enjoying his position. He looks like he's enjoying his football. For me, he's always had that maturity and that professionalism all the time. 1-year extension for him, and I think maybe we move on from Aubameyang, because this isn't the first infraction he's had. He's had these infractions before, and it's not a personal thing to him. Like I said before, it's just a case of where we are at as a team. Where we're at as a team, we can't afford to have this at this particular moment. If we were having this if this is Wenger's Arsenal and we were always coming top 4 and different things like that, then that's a little bit different. But this could really spiral what could be a project for the next decade of Arsenal Football Club, and we just can't have it. Not for somebody that's not going to be here for the long term anyway. So I think we draw a line under that and we move on. But yeah, that's my take on it. Martinelli, back-to-back man of the match performances as well. Super, super impressive for him. We've always asked for him to play. Now he's playing. You know, he's got the goods. It's what we've said for a really, really long time. Coming off of an injury as well is super, super impressive. His hunger, his desire, his passion, you know, the celebration, all of it is just great. Smith-Rowe coming off the bench and getting a goal as well, and just doing what he does. Odegaard, again, stepping up as well. Everybody seems to be stepping up really, really well. That back line needs a bit of composure, and I do think that back line composure comes from not necessarily having great holding midfield players, which has been a problem area for us for a long time. And Thomas Partey's come in. He's a good player, but ultimately has not solved the defensive midfield issue for Arsenal. So I don't know. That'll be a whole nother video. We'll talk about that. But the push continues. Back-to-back wins. Back-to-back man of the match performances for Martinelli. We go again. I might be at the Cup game for Sunderland, so I might cover that game. I might not, depending on what happens. But we have to keep this pressure going. We have to keep the intensity going. We did let them into the game a little bit, but being able to grind out results and different things like that and face adversity, that's what this team's all about. You know, and it's super, super positive. So let me know who your favorite player was today, who man of the match was for you. I heard some people saying Tomiyasu. Again, I like Tomiyasu as well. Some people said Odegaard. For me, Martinelli has to get it just for his, just sheerly for the attitude and the passion and all of that kind of stuff, you know, and just kind of leading the game. You need a player sometimes that's going to go on a set pace, and that's what he did today. He walked on the pitch and really set the bar for everybody else to follow, which is really, really impressive stuff. So that's my view on it. Let me know what you think, man of the match, and let me know score predictions for Sunderland and for Norwich after that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.